Hey guys, thanks for being here. Welcome to Thumb on the Pulse. I hope everybody's having a wonderful week. It's good seeing you again. It's been about a week. This is Thumb on the Pulse, the weekly news segment where we give you gaming news, streamer news, insider knowledge on what's going on in the industry that we all know and love. My name's thumbspazm, and this is where we give you guys gaming news that gets our hearts racing. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe with all of those buttons down below. And if you guys have any news topics you want me to cover next week, go ahead and tag it on any of the social medias with hashtag ToTP to let me know, and we'll get some of those news covered next week. But for now, here we go. Go. Let's get right into it. Talking about Xbox news. Microsoft is in the news a lot right now, and we're going to kind of dive right into it. Xbox Live is a thing. It's a thing that we all know that it exists. You log into Xbox Live, that's the network. You've got to pay money for Xbox Live Gold. That's to access things with your friends and your games and your online playing and things like that, right? Not too confusing? Well, apparently it is. A little too confusing for some people because they have now changed it to the Xbox Network. The internet service that is Xbox Live, or was Xbox Live rather, will now be legally and for future references known as Xbox Network, or the Xbox Network. The Xbox membership to access the Xbox Network will still be referred to as Xbox Live Gold, but Xbox Live will now be referred to as Xbox Network. My speculation is that Microsoft at some point down the line got sued or threatened to be sued over some sort of mishap or miscommunication that somebody had at one point over the Xbox Live and Xbox Live Gold differentials. According to the articles that we had read on the topic, it had a lot to do with just legal changes in terms of service and things like that. So once they made the legal changes in the legal terms of service contracts, obviously they had to make and implement the changes on the Xbox dashboard, within Xbox software, all that type of stuff. So from now on, no more Xbox Live, Xbox Network. Membership to Xbox Network is Xbox Live Gold. I think you guys get it. Speaking of Microsoft news, we do have a little bit more outside of Xbox world. Microsoft, the company, is intending, or at least looking into, purchasing the company Discord. Discord, as we all know and love, is a gamer-based platform for communication amongst different types of video games. Instead of using the in-game type chat services, Discord has been immensely popular since the pandemic started last year, beating out Microsoft's own software, Skype. This is what makes me believe that Microsoft sees such a value in this because they've already attempted a service like this, and then an independent company like Discord comes out and just demolishes them in regards to what they're trying to do already. Discord reportedly is considering the sale since Microsoft has been actively purchasing big franchises and big companies throughout the last year, also because this would add a little bit more support to the company and the independent developers that are running the company as it is. Microsoft is looking to purchase the platform for roughly $10 billion. This is kind of interesting in regards to the fact that Microsoft just purchased the entire gaming company Bethesda for $7 billion. Obviously, it's a little bit different from the communications type of software to video game software, but Microsoft sees Discord as potentially a very lucrative investment. I don't disagree. I think this would be a great purchase for Microsoft if they can keep it going the way that it is. Now, that's the hesitation amongst a lot of Discord users and current Discord partners, is the fact that Microsoft has not had a good track record in purchasing communication type software, i.e. Skype. I agree with you, Maury. I think the hoopla, the hubbub, the kerfuffle that people are putting over Microsoft potentially buying Discord is a bit silly. Granted, they've tried once before to purchase a communications company, but they've already made those mistakes. Like, what can you do as a company if not learn from past mistakes? So again, I think if it does happen, what'll happen is Microsoft will keep on staff a lot of the existing Discord staff members and just provide more support to the platform. So again, we'll see how it plays out once Microsoft makes a decision and once Discord makes a decision on that. But thank you for your input. I very much appreciate it. It's kind of the fun of recording this live. We'll see if Discord even sells to Microsoft, because apparently there are a few other companies that have thumbed around at the idea of buying this software in this company. So we'll see how this plays out. We'll report on it more next week. More business, sales, acquisition type news. Sony rather PlayStation directly, and then of course owned by Sony. PlayStation has purchased a giant tournament company, EVO Championship Series, or we'll just refer to it as EVO from here on. PlayStation has purchased the EVO Championship Series in its entirety, and this is being met with praise and a little hesitation. Revealed on the Sony Interactive Entertainment blog, that was stated that EVO will be the beginning of the next chapter of PlayStation's efforts to really embrace esports entertainment. This reveal comes just ahead of the EVO 2021 tournament, which will be an online-focused event starting on August 6th, going through the 8th, and then it'll take a little hiatus just to pick back up on August 13th, and then go through the 15th for the finals. Another big reason why we're reporting this is specifically because this is a gaming company, Sony, that's purchased the EVO tournament. The EVO Championship Series is notorious for specifically housing fighting tournaments for fighting style games, i.e. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, things like that. Any type of party combat game is also included in those titles, specifically Super Smash Bros. The fact that Sony has purchased this tournament series is causing a little bit of rift between EVO Tournament Series and Nintendo. Super Smash Bros. Has always been a big draw for the EVO Tournament Series. At this point, there isn't much information from one company or the other as to whether they're continuing this potential partnership with Super Smash Bros. I'd imagine that it would be in the tournament's best interest to keep communication civil as opposed to maybe trying to make a big business move and blocking out an entire gaming platform. So another fun story that we're going to continue to report on within the coming weeks. Moving on to new games, new game stories, information about new games that are coming out or have come out. This one in particular is going to be coming out July 9th. This is kind of the franchise of Monster Hunter giving you a filler until Monster Hunter Rise comes out. If you're looking for another Monster Hunter game to play in 2021 until that new game comes out, Monster Hunter Stories 2 will both be available for PC and Switch on the exact same day, like I said, July 9th. Rather than focusing on the monster slaying at the core Monster Hunter titles usually emphasize, this is more stories that are focused on the riders who tame the beasts, stories about the beasts, and the adventures to tame them in order to tame beasts and saddle up and kind of fly or ride them around. It's supposed to be a little bit more tame, a little bit more mellow, a little bit more lore-based of a Monster Hunter game. But if you like that one, again, July 9th is when you're able to pick that one up. Sad news about games that were pushed back. It seems to be reporting on a lot of games that are pushed back. Gotham Knights was announced back in August of 2020 that it was slated to release this year. Unfortunately, Warner Bros. Has released a statement saying that they have decided to push the game back to 2022. This is unfortunate because it's a game that was super unique in regards to their Batman titles they've released. Unique in the fact that it has nothing to do with the Arkham series that has been super popular and continually releasing titles in that vein, but also gives the opportunity for the Suicide Squad game that's supposed to be coming out next year, I believe, that is involved in the Batman Arkham storyline. So we'll see if we get any information on that one, if they intend on pushing that game back even further. There's a lot of speculation going on in the Batman series right now because this game has been pushed back. So more information to give you guys next week. A new game that I hadn't heard of until it had been brought to my attention from my researcher is called Insurmountable. Have you guys heard about this game yet? This is an indie game that basically challenges players to face the difficulty of mountain climbing. According to their website, players must manage limited resources, find the optimal route, and face dangers to reach the top of the mountain. Pretty straightforward, but the imagery has been really incredible. A lot of the information is regards to it's not just climbing a mountain, but also collecting the different resources to hook on, to ropes, things like that. It seems to be very immersive if you're an actual climber. So it should be pretty interesting to get an insight on climbing. I've been interested to try a VR game called The Climb. So I'm a little bit, honestly, we were talking about this one a little bit in the research meeting, and I'm kind of intrigued. Another new one that kind of struck my fancy is a game called Rustler. If you guys haven't heard about Rustler, this is basically a Grand Theft Auto in medieval times. Developer Just Two Games has confirmed that it's a medieval take on the classic top-down Grand Theft Auto. And when I say Grand Theft Auto, I'm talking like Grand Theft Auto 1. Rustler puts players in the shoes of some guy, just a peasant dude, whose journey starts directly after a day-long, persistent, belligerent drinking binge. The game's premise is to win a grand tournament, like a medieval grand tournament type, and take the princess's hand in marriage. What you'll be doing throughout the game in order to gain the skills to compete in this grand tournament is partaking in things like MMA, in this game known as medieval martial arts, horse racing. You get to serve as a taxi driver to commute people back and forth. Rustler also features some absurd quests, anything from dressing up as Death to stealing horses and selling them on some sort of open market. It will be a relatively open, exploring, sandbox type game, expected to drop sometime later this year on PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series X and S, basically releasing on everything except for the Switch. The next game on the new release list is a comfy cozy game. I mean, it's in the name, how could it not be comfy cozy? It's called Cozy Grove. It is now available on Apple Arcade, which... who's got Apple Arcade, really? But it's coming to Xbox One and PS4 and the Switch on April 8th. Cozy Grove, if you don't already have a game that you have to manage and manipulate daily, is an awesome game that leaves you free to wander across an entire island, kind of in the vein of Animal Crossing, in search of different secrets to discover, friends to make. You get to evade ghosts. I forgot to mention the island is haunted. Make helpful items and soothe poltergeists. Over time, your efforts bring to life the haunted island, which eventually causes that to fill with color. It's an interesting looking game, and I already have 2 games I'm trying to get into that are like that, Animal Crossing being one of them, and now Stardew Valley. So I'm not sure if I'll get a chance to play it, but if any of you guys get a chance to play it and have opinions about it, please let me know down below. That'd be awesome to hear. It's very similar, as my chatters have pointed out, Maury in particular, to Don't Starve. I've heard a couple comparisons to that game as well. Sounds like Don't Starve is a title that I need to check out as well. All right, guys, time for a weekly segment that I promised you guys last week, and I have delivered again this week. Last week we did this segment. We had a lot of titles to deliver, but unfortunately only a couple this time. But that's because we're going to be doing this weekly. So last week was like a 3-week catch-up. This is more regularly what we can expect. However, it is time for the free game zone. I don't know if I'm going to call that, but free games this month from different services that you may have. As I mentioned last week, Epic does free games every single week, I think. Sometimes every 2 weeks, and a lot of the times the titles are awesome. Last week they gave away The Fall. I picked that one up. This week they're giving away Creature in the Well. Creature in the Well does look like a really interesting roguelike type game. I didn't get a lot of opportunity to delve too deep into this game or what the story's about, but honestly from the artwork it looked interesting enough for me to put it in my library and hopefully download it later to play. Another one we wanted to report on, and this is the only other game we have as far as a freebie, but this game was recently added to Xbox Game Pass. I think it was just last week, right after we reported the news on March 18th. Nier Automata. I don't know how to say the name of this one, but I'm going to say it however I want because it looks really cool. I already downloaded this on PC. It is available on Game Pass for Windows only, not Game Pass for the console. But Nier Automata has been one that I've been super intrigued since it released, and apparently the last time they put this on PC was through Steam, and it was met with some really negative reviews. If you bought the version of Nier Automata released on Steam in 2019, it was the Game of the Yora edition. Yora is in reference to some in-game hijinks. I don't want to give anything away. You'll remember the controversy about it from last year because it was called playable but disappointing thanks to issues including locked frame rates, stretched user interfaces, and an ultra-wide, awkward keyboard and mouse control type scheme, problems with the resolution that could only be fixed by downloading a separate program that enabled a borderless window mode, and sometimes created more problems like stuttering and crashes once you implemented that software. Thankfully, on March 18th, Microsoft did release Nier Automata in a different format for the Game Pass PC or Game Pass Windows edition. This is going to be called the Become as Gods edition, which will include all the patches they put in from the last Steam adventure, and also all DLCs included from that game that have been released to date. So if you're interested in this game and you want to pick up a copy of it with all the DLCs that has apparently been pretty flawless since it's been released, check this one out on Xbox Game Pass Windows edition. Moving on to game updates, games we play, games we've played, games we have friends that are playing that have been updated recently. We've talked about Fortnite a little bit in the past. I know we talked about it last week. Well, Epic Games with the implementation of Season 6 and all the fun new things they've implemented, like the new guns, the new crafting system, the ability to befriend animals, which, by the way, news to me today, they're going to be adding new animals in later in the seasons. Epic Games has removed a new fish that they added into Season 6, or at least new to me fish. This is the cuttlefish. Now, the cuttlefish was intended to be a type of explosive fish or a sticky grenade type addition to the game. As of recently, I think it was yesterday or the day before, Epic has officially removed the cuttlefish entirely from the game. This was due to an issue that the studio has confirmed. It appears that Epic may be making this change due to an exploit of sorts that players had discovered by using the cuttlefish in a stacked type manner. The new item, like I said, was introduced this season. These fish were used as sticky grenades, and when stacked on top of each other, they created a very impressive stackable multiplication of damage type effect, which seemed to be super overpowered. Perhaps Epic was not happy with this and they're looking to make a change. Perhaps they're just going to remove it altogether and not bring it back. Nobody's really sure what direction this is going to go in. Valheim has teased that they are planning dedicated updates to the game, as opposed to now, where really they're just trying to work on keeping up to speed with the 6 million copies that have sold of this game to date, with just focusing on quickly fixing bugs and glitches that are popping up as people are discovering more and more parts of this game. That's kind of the main focus of the developers of Valheim. However, they did leak on their website and a couple blogs an image, this image right here, that kind of outlines their intentions for their updates, including the Hearth and Home update, which is now currently being developed and being worked on. The Hearth and Home update is going to focus on food preparation, on new recipes for cooking, building pieces for fort construction, all sorts of things like that. No specific date is set for release, as the developer, like I said, is focusing on all these quick little bug fixes right now. But again, they do have a team working on this update, and hopefully we'll hear soon when exactly they intend to give it to us. An update that has released and is now playable, Phasmophobia. With the most recent update that Phasmophobia has implemented, the ghosts being able to hunt a little bit more specifically, ghosts being a little bit more intuitive in regards to the AI that runs the ghosts. Now we've learned that update also included haptic responses. There's a company called Haptics that's developed suits, chest plates, facial coverings, things like that that are compatible with Phasmophobia with this last update. The last update to the game's beta build adds support for Haptics full body haptic suits and face covers. Essentially, these will let the game trigger vibrations through the haptics across your entire body, presumably to send actual shivers down your spine, make you feel cold, goosebumps. It's gonna let people, like the ghosts, reach out and grab your shoulders and stuff. It's gonna make a whole new creepy level to Phasmophobia. And of course, now's the time I picked up my VR headset. So let's get into some Phasmophobia VR, shall we? Oh, I'm excited. Speaking of VR, Half-Life Alyx. This is a game I've been looking forward to buying as soon as they announced it. Before I even thought about buying a VR headset, I knew that if I bought one, it was going to be so I could play this game. Half-Life Alyx is celebrating the first birthday of the game. You can get this game at discount if you've got the VR capabilities on Steam Store right now. I believe it's 40% off. It's sitting in my cart begging me to buy it. Fun little addition to this story that we kind of wanted to throw in the mix. Not only is it the anniversary of the game, but there has been a modification release to this game. It is supposed to be presented as another chapter to Half-Life Alyx. The cool part about it and what made it newsworthy for me and my reporter, the reason why she wanted to bring it to me, is this mod imagines the universe of Half-Life if Alyx herself had gone to BioShock's Rapture and tried to discover how the atom that gives people the plasmids to control, how that was made. The idea is that Alyx crash lands in Rapture and discovers that this atom exists, and then goes on a personal journey to try to figure out how it's created. The modification utilizes Half-Life Alyx to recreate Rapture, and I cannot wait. I absolutely, like, even if I don't even play the game or the mod, I can't wait to just discover Rapture in VR. This is a freaking dream come true. So if you've been waiting for more news on BioShock 4 and absolutely can't wait to get some more BioShock content, check out the modification of Half-Life Alyx. Holiday is coming up. The bunniest of holidays, of course. Easter! Last year, we had discovered a bit of a stumble from Animal Crossing with their Easter holiday event. It was a bit, let's say, cumbersome. Now, at this point, I hadn't gotten my hands on a copy of Animal Crossing yet, so I'm not exactly familiar with what was the frustration, but let's just say there were a lot of eggs. Bunny Day is returning this year on March 28th through April 4th. This time around, the eggs will only appear around your island for a few days ahead of the event. So again, just from the 28th through the 4th. April Fool's Day is another holiday that Animal Crossing intends to celebrate. From the 26th of March through the 1st of April, you will be able to find a whoopee cushion on the island. I'm hoping it's just going to be in the Nook store. But then from April 1st until the end of the month, there's going to be a Nook shopping event promoting prom and promoting prom type events with prom walls, prom season stuff, prom night flooring, and all sorts of stuff. Experience prom again on Animal Crossing. I enjoyed my proms. I don't know about you guys. Other new items will be available for other holidays in Animal Crossing in April, including an Earth Day celebration, as well as celebrating a Korean holiday called Singmogil. Singmogil? Oh no, that's going to be one people are going to make fun of me for. More information on those, though, next week. For the 1-year anniversary of Animal Crossing, we will get a cake in our inventory and an expanded number of custom design slots, as well as pro slots. We're going to get 50 more slots, so I hope you guys enjoy them, and I can't wait to see all the creativity that comes from this. Lastly, in Animal Crossing, Nintendo has decided to release I'm going to put this in air quotes, a limited time web service called the Island Tour Creator that will let you create and share virtual posters and a tour video showcasing your island. The weird part about this news is they have already announced that it'll be a thing, as well have already announced the end of it. So it's going to be on a trial basis, and then they're going to cancel it already? I'm not exactly sure. More news to come. Fun facts on fun games that all of us really enjoy. Among Us, in particular Inner Sloth, is finally ready to let us know when the new map is coming out. The new map, or the airship rather, is officially announced to drop on March 31st. If you guys have been feeling a little stagnant or stale with Among Us, a whole new map's coming on March 31st. Look out for that. Speaking of new maps and new seasons, Fall Guys has just got its new season. They're also announcing a new mode. It's called Squad Mode. Squads will be able to pop 15 different teams together, able to play the majority of Fall Guys maps and levels together. Squads are going to be scored differently from the game's usual modes in regards to a more team mentality as opposed to individuality. Compiling the entire team's efforts into a single score, race rounds and other rounds will score teams based on which place each player finishes, as opposed to judging you individually again. Survival rounds will score teams for every second survived by each team member, and then obviously the lowest team score at the end of each round, the entire team will be eliminated instead of just one team member. Really fun innovations from Fall Guys continuing to come out from that development team. Another fun fact on another game, this is less than an announcement about the game, more of like a wishful, could you, would you, should we, I wish this had been. Look at this beautiful picture here. Digital Dreams, a YouTube channel, has kind of taken some of the graphics from Breath of the Wild. Now this is particularly drawn from Breath of the Wild, the Wii U edition, and really kind of stepped it up a notch. The idea behind this project was to kind of show us what could be if Nintendo really decides to invest in this next console and give us 4K graphics and potentially ray tracing and things that will be part of the future that Nintendo could get ahead of with the next console they release. This gorgeous footage is ray traced and upgraded to an 8K resolution. Really shows off the shadows and the reflections and things like that that could be. In my opinion, it's a little over the top. All of this 4K, 8K stuff is just begging people to spend more money when I'm perfectly happy with high definition resolutions. Now, with that said, I'm also old and opened a Nintendo 64 out of the box, plugged in Wayne Gretzky 64, and was flabbergasted at how real it looked. So maybe that's just the old man mentality inside of me, but it looks pretty, don't get me wrong, and it looks obviously more detailed. It definitely looks great. If the next Breath of the Wild game comes out in a 1080p or 1080i resolution, I'll be happy. If it comes out in 4K, that's ice cream on top of my cake, you know, but I'll just be happy if we get a Breath of the Wild 2. That's what I'm waiting for. If you're a card game player and have been looking for the next big card game to come out, you might want to look into this one. Apparently, Sega and Sonic have gotten in cahoots with Steamforged Games in order to create an actual Sonic the Hedgehog card game. Steamforged Games has been responsible for different types of tabletop games, including a Horizon Zero Dawn board game, and as well being popular for creating minifigures for games. Lots of different game styles and lots of different minifigure styles. They'll be the ones producing the card game, and it looks like it'll be an attempt to recreate the game's coin collecting system or coin collecting action from the video game. If this sounds like a game you want to check out, we'll include a link for more information to the Sonic the Hedgehog card game below. Click on that link if you want to learn about it. And lastly, this is one that's super fun and we've talked about often on stream. Nintendo World has officially opened on March 18th, even though it was slated to open back in February. On March 18th in Tokyo, Japan, Super Nintendo World had its opening day. We've seen lots of different videos and lots of different images from this park, and honestly, it looks absolutely incredible. It has also been announced that potentially they may be adding a Donkey Kong area to Super Nintendo World in Tokyo, which means that when we get our park in the United States, which has been announced and slated to open in 2025 down in Orlando, we might get a Super Nintendo World and a Donkey Kong World at the same time, guys. So let's let them do all the experiments over Japan. Bring all the good stuff to Orlando, please, and thank you. I always have so much fun reporting the news to you guys every single week and then editing this to put it up on YouTube. So if you're watching this on the tubes, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you get a hankering to, hit that bell, because if you enjoyed yourself, you're going to want to know when other videos come out. We are going to be putting out more Loot Crate unboxing videos, more clip compilations, and all sorts of things on the YouTube channel here in the future. We're just getting started, babies. So I hope you guys enjoyed your time with me. I hope you enjoyed the news I gave you while putting my thumb on the pulse, and I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day. Love you, beans. Bye! Essentially, this will let the game trigger vibrations across. I think you're just rocking them too hard. Cozy Grove, if you... I said Grove. I'm just getting close to the end, and I can feel it, so I'm getting excited.